Hey YouTube! This is my second video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tawny Denton, and I just really wanted to, after getting this sign today, how do I turn around the camera? I don't even know. But it says, Dr. Seuss says, "You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way." I thought that was really pretty. I don't know. When I was writing my journal, that came out to me, and so did this little other leaflet about the importance of moleskin and writing in it. I don't know, but it talked about some great people that wrote and scribbled and stuff in these journals, and it really made me feel good. And Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, it says oh, I'm also on the Spanish part, so it might be why, but Ernest Hemingway was the point. I just thought it would be important to start out this YouTube experience with a little more background on who I am and what I've experienced in my life, and really my testimony of my walk with Jesus Christ and my life, my experiences and my feelings. And I think that's really important because, well, it's really important. I spent a long time worrying about trying to control other people's perceptions of me and trying to control my perceptions of myself and judging myself and judging others, and it made me really, really miserable and really unhappy. And I think it's important to look back on why, at least for me it was, just because, you know, I know we've all been through a lot of things, and we all have different stories and pains and purposes for being here on this earth, and it matters to me to get this out because I've struggled with the mental and physical toll of having relentless trauma, and it replaying in my mind for years, and has prevented me really from living, and from moving forward. And so I've been doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of praying, and basically let me just start. That's why I have all these notes, you see, because I like to stay on topic and I like to have things go smoothly, but they don't always do that, now do they? But I think it's also really important to go into the fact of me and my walk with Jesus, because I feel like, at least the experience that I've had in my life, people really misquote the Bible and use it to exclude people and to keep people from being a part of God's family. whether that's just by, belittling them or pushing you away from Jesus. I remember, there are a lot of stories. I remember that when I was in college, there was this free speech area, and there would be these different religions, if that's, different religions, I'm gonna go with that. And I'm sure they do that at all colleges, they have like the dudes that come looking like Charles Manson and whatnot, and they're like screaming outside the library, scaring you away from whatever it is anyways. And so it makes the college kids be like, oh yeah, on the bar. And so, which I definitely did. So, but that's not the point. The point is, truly, it does turn people away from their faith and being with Jesus just as a friend. And I think that's the most painful part, because this world is a hard place for everybody, at different times, for different reasons. And so when people experience loss and addiction, which addiction is people covering up pain, so and hardship, basically just when you have a bad day, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that means your joy, that means your happiness, your life. And so if you don't have faith, what do you have? For me, well, we'll get there, but the point is, people that use the Bible to exclude people that they don't deem as worthy because maybe they don't have the right family or the right job or the right home, or basically just, it's not what Jesus is about. And reading the Bible again reminded me of that, and it reminded me of all the things that I've missed out on and could have chosen for myself. And everything does happen for a reason, though. I very firmly believe that. I just think it's sad, though, because Jesus literally said to help the widows, help the fatherless, help the poor, that the fatherless are actually, Jesus is their father. And so I know for me, growing up, like I said, I do live in a nice master planned community. I grew up here my whole life, was born here, and I had, my grandfather, he worked for some oil and gas company, and the family ended up here. But my mother was, she was a single mother. She was a waitress, and she did a lot of hard work and labor, trying to help me feel comfortable in this town growing up, and to keep up with the clothes the other kids had, and just all those kinds of things. I feel really guilty about it now, especially because of the fact that I do still live with my mom, and she is still working really hard. I thought this video would be a little more conclusive, cohesive, whatever you want to say. I don't know, but I guess I should really just get to the point of the fact that People talk a lot about bullying, and I guess it's not so much of a thing anymore, which is really good. And that's good. Okay, let's keep taking that seriously. Okay, because when I was in high school, a lot of people get bullied, but I was cyberbullied, I was in-person bullied, and I wasn't just bullied by my grade, by my class, by one group of people. I was bullied by the whole school. And it wasn't just my whole school. It was all 3 of the high schools in the town. And so, every year, for a lot of things, and I'm not perfect, but when you are in a community where there are people of higher class than you, and you grow up thank God my aunt raised me in the church, because if it wasn't for her, I definitely wouldn't be here at all. And it was hard because, even then, you can't. This is tougher than I thought. Look, it's hard growing up feeling less than. When you're around other kids at church, and maybe, everybody's got their group of friends or cousins, and they come from nice families, and they're dressed all nice, and they play sports, and your mom can't afford sports or want to take you to sports, and it's just things like that that make, and then the kid feels like it's their fault. And so they're growing up with this, and then, then they have things at elementary school, like Donuts with Dad, and seeing that every year, and the kids that get that, it can be tough, And so, I don't know, I just remember, though, that I remember a lot of things. I wish I didn't, but memories are memories. Man. I don't even know how to edit too, which makes this worse, because it's just kind of gonna be all thrown together and out there. The point is, that I'm thankful that my aunt raised me in the church and gave me that faith in Jesus Christ, and I'm thankful that it was a good church that helped my faith in a way that without it, who knows? Because, and that's the thing too, and it hurts whenever you try to talk to people now and they're like, why are you so hung up on it? Why aren't you over it? Get over it. That affects your life. Those are your formative years growing up. And think about the malnourished kids out there, or the parent, it's like there's a whole bunch that goes into it. The kids that don't get as much nourishment to their bodies as other children. And these children pick on them and put them down. And, I can't blame, and that's the thing, and what I've been doing a lot of is a lot of forgiveness, because I can't blame those people. I can't blame those friends that decided that they wanted better friends with cooler parties or houses or, Instagram pictures. I can't they're kids. We were kids. I gotta let that go. But what I do blame is the teachers and the parents and the adults that were around, and teachers that flirt with students, or teachers that DM students, teachers that think it's funny to flirt with them in front of whole classrooms, or there's just a lot of, and that's the thing is, and this stuff matters because it happened back when my sister was in school, and she grew up here too in the 90s, and that was traumatizing for her. And then it happened to my brother, and he dropped out of school, and he passed away last year, and I've been dealing with that, and I was scared to even post him online because I was worried about other people's judgments of him. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that this stuff matters, because people think they can treat other people really badly and just continue on with their lives, and that's why this world isn't, I just think that we can make it a better place for the children growing up today and for the children growing up tomorrow by just showing empathy and love and kindness and making sure we instill those things in our children instead of glorifying a watch or a home or a party, you guys know. It's just sad. And people's lives get destroyed. Like I was saying, it wasn't just my family, and it wasn't just me that got bullied. There are a lot of people that, and a lot have lost their lives. And I think that's what hurts too, is a lot of these people that I was friends with for years, and they know this stuff, and some of them attended the funerals or whatever. The point is that I've received maybe one apology, and that person apologizing to me, I don't stop speaking highly of that person, because that's how much kindness matters. All those times, and that's why it matters too, because I don't know how I'm still here. It literally is by the grace of God, because the point is, and then when you try to go to people and tell them about this stuff, they try to tell you what to do and how to feel, and that is not helpful. People aren't meant to be controlled or to sit there and serve your ego or your whole feelings. People are meant to, like, codependency, and that's another thing. That's why people are so codependent, is because they don't know the love of Christ. They don't know the friendship. I did not know how special that was until, and that's the thing, is going back to, man, there's a lot of things I could talk about, and I thought this video is already almost 20 minutes long, and I didn't even have it all really together the way I thought. I had all these little notes written, but I think just talking about it and kind of getting the point out there, I hope that the point does get across. I'm sorry it wasn't more structured and organized, but I'm not so much structured and organized. That's a lie. Okay, whatever. Anyways, the point is, and here's the thing is, oh man, I coped with so I had all those feelings, right? All this trauma from my family, from school. I started, and then my grandfather died in the middle of high school, and he was the one who he was the greatest man to me that I've ever known. And I remember that day that he passed away, they sent me to school and were like, okay, take your tax tests. What? You know? And that's another thing is, the guy I had been dating at the time, and that's another thing that I got made fun of, is when I started reading the Bible, you're told to love openly and freely and consistently and kindly and not keeping record of wrongs. And according to what I read, you know, it's just sad that, and that's another thing, is when you're in these serious relationships in high school and you give someone your body and your time and your heart, and people make fun of you afterwards, it scares you from real love in your life and real friendships. And it's not right. None of this is right. They called me, you know, they made fun of me they called me crazy for years. Do you know what that does to someone? And then I finally got away to college, which you know, you grow up reading the Bible, you want to have a family, you want to have kids. You're made to feel ashamed for that. You're told that, oh, you're not going to school, you're not going to do this, you're not good enough. Okay, so then you go to college. Okay, and then I wanted to prove to others that I was a good person. And so I joined a Christian sorority, which was really a cult. And those people did not know what they were talking about either. And and then my aunt that had raised me in the church, I don't know why I'm smiling. I guess that's just, I don't know, y'all would just, TikTok would probably say that's like a trauma response thing. I don't know. But my aunt that raised me in the church passed away visiting me there and was killed by a drunk driver. And those people left me behind. They kicked me out of their group because I had gotten a boyfriend at the time that was Catholic and not Christian. So they told me I could not be baptized. My aunt passed away, leaving. And I never heard from any of those people. Now, to me, that doesn't sound very Christ-like. But, and that's what I'm saying is, and even in high school, too, anytime I went to Jesus, people would be like, oh, well, aren't you doing this? Okay, weren't you? And that's the thing. And that's why you can't... None of it makes sense, really, is my point. So you can't The only thing that does make sense is Jesus Christ and the Bible and good people, nice people, fun people, friendly people. It doesn't matter, and that's another thing, is it's not about just Christians or just people that like Jesus. It's about people of all faiths, because God is love. And that's what people are missing, is that love is not making people ashamed. Love is not telling people they're not good enough. Love is not sitting there saying, well, if you don't do this, then you're not worth talking to. Love is not, well, if you aren't gonna speak this way, then you're not worth being here. And I coped with all of this stuff with drinking and smoking anything, well, that they put out, smoking nicotine, smoking Delta 8. I was vaping. I had a serious vaping addiction that started after my aunt passed away in college, and it's had a hold on me for the last 7 or 8 years. And that's, now I'm done with these notes because I haven't really stuck to them anyway, but I will tell you that after my brother passed away and I was living back here, I was scared to leave my mom's apartment because I didn't want anybody to see me and to judge me, because it's in the same town. I had gone to live with my cousin for a while and take care of her kids, but that's a different story. That makes me happy though, because I do love my family and I do love kids, and that's why it's important. Okay. So, but back to my point was that I had given up on everything. I have abused my body clearly. Well, see, don't put yourself down. Still working through that. But I abused it with drugs. I abused it with alcohol. I abused it with sex. People do that. People do that when they don't know the love of Jesus Christ, when they don't know the importance of the words in the Bible for their own understanding. And that goes for any faith. I've heard that from different people of different faiths. And I mean, we're all human beings. Hello? It's literally just kindness and empathy and understanding and love. But my point is, when I was at my lowest and I was scared to get out of bed, I didn't have a will to get out of bed. I mean, I wanted to die. Which I was always ashamed of that too, which, you know, I mean, death is not good. That is from the devil there. But it does say in the Bible that it's a normal thing. And that's the thing, is it was always hard for me to talk about growing up, and I was ashamed of that, because it's like, oh, if that person feels that way, then there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with their family. There's something wrong at their home. It all just full circle. So, but what's important is, when I had nothing left over these last 2 years, the person that gave me hope and is my angel of hope is Onika Tanya Mirage Petty, Nicki Minaj. And because I think, you know, music is a really important, which music's also in the Bible, by the way. I didn't realize that. But after reading the whole New Testament and seeing that, you know, writing songs, singing songs to God, that is a thing. That's a spiritual thing. And that's not, well, oh, the moon is so full. Oh my God, I wish I could turn it around. That's gorgeous. Okay, but anyways, which, by the way, I was also born on Halloween. And in 8th grade, my locker number was 666, which I used to be really scared of, and people were like, oh my God, shh, which I found out they also called Jesus the devil too, baby. And 666 means wake up to your higher spiritual truth. Angel numbers. Oh. Oh. But let me go back to my angel of hope. And seriously, her online community, her online community of the barbs, it's crazy, gave me a place of comfort, of hope, of love, of joy, of laughter, of creation. These people are so fun. My friends, our friends. Onikatan. Okay, see, I'm getting too excited now. The point is, they create music. We created the whole. Helped create her. We created it. Well, Cabria. It was her idea, and all the barbs created her Pink Friday 2 rollout, and she had a freaking amazing tour. She did 2 legs of the tour, and so I think, just being in a place where you feel included and you have goals and you're creating and you're working towards something, that brought hope and life and passion back into me and inspired me to get out of bed in the morning, to brush my teeth, to wash my face, to take care of myself, to live again, and to not just die. Because let me tell you, I don't think my little this is traumatic story, a little graphic. My little basically his family member from another whatever, she passed away in her apartment eaten by cats, and nobody knew, and her daughter ran away with her boyfriend to another country, and nobody knew for like a week. How many people does that happen to? And think about all the starving children out there that go hungry at night because their mothers are working, and people are sitting over here telling their kids, you can't date her because she didn't come from a good enough family. Anyways, clearly I'm still working on a lot of forgiveness and letting go. But back to what inspired me to live again, which I realized also that was another big thing in the Bible, was love, positive words, positive encouragement, kind words. And that's what really started waking me up too, is, so clearly big into music, had a lot of music therapy going on. And I listened to a lot of music that, my brother liked, like Biggie and Lauryn Hill. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I was very miseducated. Let me tell you that. And that's another thing too, is, so not only was I made fun of for loving like Jesus, the person that and I was crucified for, God, there's just so many things it's hard when you get distracted by the negative, because then you can just get caught up in that forever. But it is important to talk about, because these things do happen to people. And so after I was heartbroken, I had asked my family to take me to counseling, because people were making fun of me. They were like, she's obsessed, she's crazy, as if I wasn't a 16 years old in love with someone. and they're making fun of you for having your heart broken, and you don't have anyone to talk to, and when you go home, you're being told that you're weird. And then you try to tell that person, and they're just a kid too, and they don't understand, and their parents don't like that person, and so... Yeah. Well, I forgot where I was going with that now. Oh, the point is that after that, I said, well, and then, you know, of course you're in high school, and then that person starts dating or talking to somebody else, and you're like, well, how can I help myself? Oh yeah, that was my point, is I asked my family for help to go to counseling, and I was taken to a different, I was taken to a Scientology group instead, and which, whatever, it is what it is. But the point is that that wasn't what I needed at the time, or whatever. Okay, that's not the point of my story. And after that, I said, well, what can I do? Right? So then you're listening to music, you're upset, you're wanting to get back at this person, you're listening to music, watching movies. The cool thing to do is to party, to be good looking, and to have the cool friends, especially, you know, if you're in a wealthy community where there's parties every weekend. Okay, so I just started to have sex with a lot of people. Guys, dude, well, it doesn't, okay, well, me personally, okay, and so, and then after that, I got chlamydia, and the whole town called me chlamydia girl, and there were apps, all on Twitter, all on Yik Yak, all on Instagram, and that's what I mean to say when I don't know how I'm still here. I think the important part, though, is, see, it's hard not to get caught up in the trauma and the emotions that you're feeling. But the important part of that is that I don't want children to be, not children, but teenagers to be confused, especially with all the social media stuff. You know, you're made to feel like crap about, I know I was sitting there, I didn't want to leave the house, not only because of all the trauma, but it's like you look on TikTok or whatever, even Instagram, that's what started all this too. That was the first thing right when I started 9th grade. First thing they started bullying me on, because I had a orange spray tan. They called me Snooki. Like, I'm telling, it was just anything. And it's not even about that. It's about, again, about what were the adults? Why were there adults? Why were there teachers that would sit there and judge and partake in that gossip and harm a child? Why were there assistant principals that sat there and made you feel guilty? Yeah, that was another thing. There was a picture of my butt, my ass, that was on Twitter, and all the boys in the locker room were whatever they did. I don't know. And the teachers, the women teachers, sat there and scolded me and threatened me with legal legal matters and made me feel like I was just some, a slut. That's all anybody ever. They just treated me like I was a slut, like I was stupid, like I wasn't worth anything. And that's not true. Because God, Jesus Christ, says I'm worthy. Jesus Christ says I'm chosen. And all of this fear, for what? Wasting my life. And people die. And the world moves on. And so, all that to say is when I found my angel of hope, Anika Tanya, and was part of the Barb's loving community where they uplifted and they had book clubs and wrote poetry and made music and did things instead of tearing people down and judging them. Well, nobody's perfect, but I quit vaping in September. After 7 years, I quit vaping nicotine. And also that obviously helped with money. So, and not only that, I'm 2 weeks off my antidepressants now, which people may say, be like, it doesn't matter what people say. I really don't care, because I feel happy. I feel good. And that's another thing, is that one of Nicki Minaj's songs, Blessings, which is the reason why I got back to God, was because of her gospel songs. Because I was hanging around with, basically I was just doing things that weren't the best for me. And that's what led me to not wanting to we're not going backwards, we're going forwards here. The point is, I was listening to her gospel songs, for the last 2 years now. And that's what made me want to talk to Jesus again. Because after all of this, I was angry at Jesus. You can ask my family. I always have been a loving person. I've always had jobs taking care of kids. I love kids. I want to have children. Okay. And that's why all this is very important to me, because this stuff I see and the things people say is so ugly and demonic. And people think it's okay to call each other, to call women, men, whatever. Ugly words. Nobody's perfect. Not everybody is perfect. But you don't need to sit there and call someone, whatever, fill in the blank. Ooh. Actually. That was another big point too, is that I think that was another big point too, is that I listened to my brother. Actually, we listened to a lot of Young Money in my family, which was why I was so drawn to Nicki Minaj. Okay. And I realized, in high school. So basically, so in Nicki Minaj's song, Blessings, she says, when I was 5, I got on my knees and prayed to you. So I listened to that song for a long time. And then when I stopped smoking vaping and stopped smoking cigarettes to get off the vaping, I was looking at the stuff in my room, because my mom, she likes her stuff. Okay. A lot of people do, whatever. But I realized that I was in kindergarten at that time, and I had prayed to God right after the 9/11 attacks. And I don't remember, obviously, what I said. I was 5. But I remember the experience of that prayer, and it has been with me my whole life, the memory of it. And whatever I said, I remember I kind of like passed out, and I remember speaking to, or someone speaking to me, some kind of angel, some kind of heavenly host. And I imagine that I was praying and was afraid and was praying for the people who lost their lives. And I don't know, I think that maybe that coupled with my aunt raised me in the church is the reason I'm still here, and is the reason I've been able to quit smoking after all these years, and is the reason I was able to get off antidepressants after all these years, which, by the way, I went on the antidepressants when I finally got to college and was part of that group, the cult. I have called it the cult all these years. It's true. Because those girls themselves were on antidepressants, and I was emotional at the time, and I think it was, it was one of the times I was feeling suicidal. And so they talked after that. I was like, you're right, I need to get on the medication. And so for the last 10 years since, I've been on the medication. And all of that goes back to say that I love Onika Tanya Mirage Petty. And I'm thankful for her saving my life through the love of Jesus Christ and inspiring me to go back to God and to receive that love and that hope and that promise that the Lord will never leave me. And also, I think a big part of this is when I was going through this tough time, people made it aware to me to listen to music that maybe wasn't talking so much about drinking or partying. Okay, so then I started paying attention to what I listened to, and I listened to more positive, upbeat things, and that was helpful. Helped me stay motivated. It helped me to keep moving. And then, so when I was going through this music therapy, that was, like I said, that was another thing I did do wrong in high school, unfortunately, that's a whole lot to unpack, but about race, about saying the N-word. And that's the thing, is I feel worse about that than about, ashamed of the sex stuff, because now I know the impact of what that word means and what that does to people. And so I was scared also to go online because it's not funny, but I was scared also to go online about even being a Nicki Minaj fan, because I didn't want people to be like, weren't you racist in high school? And the thing about that is, looking back on my social media posts and about my life, again, I grew up with a lower class family, a brother that came out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I was scared to post about him because I didn't want people to say he was trying to steal their culture, because he was in foster care, bro, and that was the culture he was around, and that was the reason why I got into rap music and why me and my cousin listened to Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj and Drake. And then, And that's the thing, is these same people that make you feel less than for not having a dad, for not having a home. Yeah, we got called the apartment kids by these same people that want to judge you. These same people that want to judge you and say, oh, you're a racist. Okay. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The miseducation of Tawny Irene Denton. Yeah. That Biggie album, Born Again. Woo! The point is, though, and going back to the words, when you grow up in a society where you're being constantly listening to music, and these artists are just people taking a job, by the way. I learned that too. These actors, actresses, they are just people that sign up for a job. Okay? So, that was also a big wake-up call for me too. Because when you're part of a company, you have to stand by what your company says. You can't just free for all out there. Okay? This is drown. Oh, 2 of them. Okay. So, I don't know. But anyways. Oh, okay, my friend. Oh, whatever. The point is, when you hear party, 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 sex, 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 inward, 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 what the frack do you think is going to come out of people's mouths? And that was another thing I started to realize too, as I was recovering and healing from this and realizing that the world is not... See, okay, when I was a history my degree is in history. I have a Bachelor of Arts in history. And when I got in those classes, which was filled with dudes, by the way, I want to talk about race, but that was filled with dudes. And I remember finding about some kind of, I don't know, some kind of CIA operation, who really knows, but, or FBI, whatever, letters. And I was confused. I said, wait, what? America's not the... And see, we can't blame America either. I remember, okay, it was about this particular situation, and I don't remember what it was. I'm going to assume it was like World War II or something. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? America's not the good guys in this situation? What? And they all just laughed. They thought it was super funny. And I think that kind of sums up a lot, because with all of this, I've realized also how sexist and sad this country is. But there are positives through all this. The positives are that now I know what true love is. I know who Jesus Christ truly is. I know who God truly is. I can recognize good friends, good men, good women. And I deserve honor. I deserve love. And I deserve respect. And I don't need to be ashamed about my opinions, about my life, about what I look like, about what I weigh, about how small my teeth are. Okay, see, look, now I'm getting back into the negative. Nobody's perfect. Almost an hour-long video of me talking about this stuff. But I think it was really important for me to get out, because I do want to make this YouTube channel about something positive and about helping people. And where is this? The Bible verse I had right here. I do want to end on this note. Read it here. Hold on. Oh yeah, by the way. There's a whole lot more to add to this story, by the way. But like I said, it's already at an hour. My mind a little bit confused. I don't feel confused as much as I have ever though, and I can't control the perceptions of how people perceive what I said. All that matters is I have Jesus, and I have my own mouth and my own brain and my own heart and my own spirit and my own soul. And here is the verse. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Genesis 50:20. And that is my intent, is to help save the lives of the people out there who feel less than, who feel beaten down, who feel bullied or like they have nowhere else to go, or that people don't want them around. Because we all deserve love, we all deserve honor, and we all deserve respect. In this world, I hope we can save it and make it a better place. Even if it's just a little by little, day by day. Yeah, the trees look pretty. They're building a library. And the moon is full. Which, by the way, reading the Bible, it's tons of fun stuff. But I realized that all the, like, Callie, my sister, she lives in California, and she's all into all the incense and stones and stuff, like this amethyst. My aunt always loved that. All that stuff's in the Bible too. So it's not even, it's just so funny because a lot of it doesn't make sense. You know, they make laws from the Bible, but then they don't listen to other parts of the Bible, and none of it makes sense. So like I said, la-di-da-di-da. I hope everyone has a really good evening, and peace, love, and happiness. Bye.